Good afternoon, my name is Sofi V and today I will be presenting on the relationship between power roles and ethical decision making. For almost a century, there has been an ongoing debate in the psychological field called nature versus nurture, where some people that support the nature part of the argument support the fact that a personality cannot be changed through people's lifespan or lifestyle, and that it is solely based on genetics, while people that support the nurture part of the argument say and still maintain that there are other non-constant factors in society and in the environment that can change a person's personality throughout their life. Although there are very good arguments on both sides of this debate, there has been increasingly more evidence that the environment that surrounds a person is crucial in how they behave and how they act, and overall their personality. According to Dr. David Pittenger from the Marshall University in his paper, Measuring the MBTI and Coming Up Short about the Myers-Briggs test, he shows that there is no accurate way in which we can separate personality into 16 distinct categories for every single person, and therefore concludes that there are other non-constant factors that can alter a person's personality throughout their life. Besides, in a completely different field, in the humanities department, author Ernest Hemingway, in his short story Soldier's Home, also hints at the fact that other situations can affect a person's personality through his protagonist, which is called Krebs, and he is a war veteran that is coming home from war and experiences the adoption of a different persona when he is talking to people from war that have experienced that, and people from his hometown that do not know the trauma that he has passed. And what this leads us to know is that there are certain situations in which a person holds power, be it of their own self-identity or other positions, that make them act in what can seem like an untruthful or unethical way. Because of this, and taking into consideration all interpretation of this topic, the research question arises of how do assigned power roles affect the recipient's ethical decision making. And after thorough investigation, it can be safe to conclude that it is a mentality of power that affects or creates the initiative for people to act unethically because of the situation they find themselves in. And mostly this happens in workspaces or organizations. So because of this, in this presentation, I will be proposing 3 main solutions in the hopes that they would reduce the unethical behavior of people because of situational factors in workspaces, companies, or organizations. And further on, I will conclude by showing why the 3rd solution is the best in this specific scenario. So, on to the first solution, the promotion of accountability. According to a study done by HR Magazine, the percentage of CEOs that have been forced out of their position because of ethical violation increased from 3.9 in 2007 to 5.3 in 2016. And although this might not seem like a very big difference, it is a great percentage increase when taken into account the specific reason why these people are being forced out of their positions. The way in which a culture of accountability could be established in an organization would be starting at the top with CEOs and chairmen in the top tier positions and working down towards the low profile workers and establishing conduct codes and protocols so that every person knows the consequences that they would receive for deciding to act in any specific way. And through this, they would be accountable for whatever decision they might or might not take in their workspace. Nonetheless, there are some limitations to the solutions, mainly that it is an internal initiative, so it would have to be something within an organization, and the people organizing would have to hold some type of power. And second, the complicated logistics that it involves, which also relates to this because the people that hold power in an organization and would be incentivized to act unethically would have the power of manipulating this system to their favor. The second solution is the whistleblower mechanism. According to a study done by David Maxfield, former Stanford University professor, 63% of people surveyed in a workspace area said that when they witness unethical behavior in their environment, they did not tend to report it to any given authority. This is why the whistleblower mechanism would be extremely helpful in this situation. The whistleblower mechanism would consist of a series of hotlines, email addresses, or even a special committee that would facilitate ways for people to actually report any unethical activity that they might see inside their workspace. And the impact that this would have is that it would create a culture of confidence and empowerment amongst workers so that they feel entitled to actually promote fairness within their organization and do not just stand back when they see these type of cheating or untruthful acts that are happening within the organization. Although there has been great companies such as Deloitte, which is one of the big 4 accounting firms that have established this mechanism and been extremely successful at it, there are some limitations to the solution. Mainly that it includes an outer party because there is no way in which this can be with full anonymity and be well established if the people in the organization are making or logistically creating the system, and besides, the scale adaptability is not great, meaning that this system is best for big corporations and is not very well fitted for small organizations that might still be confronting this type of problem. And moving on to the last solution, the 4V model for ethical leadership. According to a study done in 2016 by the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, approximately 5% of total annual revenue is lost because of fraudulent activity. And I know that this might not seem like much, but in an average size corporation, this would come up to almost $120,000 of loss yearly because of even small unethical decisions that people are taking within an organization. What the 4V model consists is a way in which an organization can align their inner values with their outer actions and how they're completing their goals, where the 4 V's stand for values, vision, virtue, and voice. And the way that this model is established is first by establishing the values that an organization has, second by actually going into the vision and the goals that the organization has, and finally putting these two together by their voice, by articulating what they would be doing with these values and putting them into action to achieve their goal. And finally, the virtuous behavior that they would result in so that they can actually achieve their goal by staying true to their own values. The limitations in this case would be that it is a long-term solution and is not something that would have immediate impact because it has to start from the beginning. And second, that it does also include an outer party because if the people within the organization were the ones establishing it, it would be very easy for people to manipulate it in their favor and defeat the whole purpose of the model. So in conclusion, although all of these 3 solutions would be beneficial for the reduction of unethical behavior in an organization or in a workspace, the 3rd solution would be the best to implement if we're going to tackle the problem effectively, because the actual implications would be that they would also create values of accountability and empowerment of workers if the solution is correctly implemented. So therefore, if the unethical behavior because of power allocation is to be successful, the 3rd solution or any of the solutions is the best way to tackle the problem at hand. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anton. I have 2 questions for you.
Yes.
First one is, what evidence did you gather that you didn't use? Why did you choose not to use it?
Okay, great question actually. At the beginning of my research, I was just looking at how power affects behavior in general. So I started researching and I found several peer-reviewed journal articles on how different experiments in which power led to unethical behavior of some sort. Nonetheless, then I started reducing my research question and focusing more on specific environments, such as the workspace area. So at some point, some of the experiments that I had already analyzed became obsolete to the topic at hand, and that is why I had to exclude them from my research.
Good, thank you. One last question.
Yes.
Explain the level of certainty you have about your conclusion, solution, or the recommendation.
So in general, there is a very high level of certainty that I have in the solutions that I propose, mainly not only because I've developed them really thoroughly, but also because they are based on things that have already been implemented and have already worked in different scenarios. So by bringing these 3 together and analyzing the limitations of each and how they could fit together, I'm pretty confident that working together with these 3 solutions would be the best way, at least what has been researched today in the academic sphere, to deal with this problem specifically.
Thank you. Good job.